What is a basic computer skill you were shocked some people don't have? Not knowing what double-click means. Reading. As a tech supporter I get the stupidest questions. Client. There is a prompt here that says, your computer needs to reboot to finish installing updates. Click here to restart. What does that mean? Me. It means your computer installed updates and needs to reboot. Client. How do I do that? Me. Click on the prompt to restart. You'd be surprised how many folk don't know what to type into search engines to find what they're looking for. My college roommate didn't know he could change his desktop background. He was blown away and went to show it to one of our other friends, who was also blown away because she didn't know you could change the background. Shape recognition. Does the end of the cable look like the hole in the machine? It's amazing how many people can't figure that out at work. Been working in IT long enough to where people not having basic computer skills doesn't shock me anymore. But still, how do people never figure out that you can search for programs in the Start menu? My Outlook is gone. Hits Start and types Outlook. Oh, there it is. How do you find it? Copy and paste shortcuts. Literacy. No, I don't mean being computer literate, I mean reading the English words on a computer screen. In college I worked as help desk, and you would not believe the number of calls we got because the user just didn't read the text on the screen. Not knowing how to enter a URL. I've tried to get people to enter a URL over the phone and they just put it in the Google search bar, usually after first going to google.com. Knowing how to save or open a document. I'm not kidding. I work with teenagers. Edit. Wow, it's amazing how many of these comments are kids and their phones these days, or kids have it too easy these days. Maybe, when the OS is simplified but they still can't work with it, the issue isn't that they've been working with simplified OS all this time. My computer turns on, but my monitor doesn't show the picture. Me. Is your monitor plugged in and connected to the back of your PC? No, I needed to use that outlet so I unplugged it. Me. Sad face. I once did a bit of tutoring for folk, and I remember one lady asked how she could open Word. So I told her to move the mouse pointer over the Word icon and double-click on it, to which she replied, "Oh no, I can't do that. I don't like those mice thingies." Reading. Seriously. Read the text in the dialogue and you'll know what to do in 99% of cases. Reading. You don't know how many family members have asked me to come help them because something popped up. Why is it popped up? Box says update will happen tonight. Me. There is an update coming, nothing to worry about. Oh wow, I'm so bad with this I wish I understood it like you. It's in plain English, just read the screen, god damn it. That turning it off and back on is a solution to most common problems. How to use Excel. Went to a job interview and they asked me about Excel and how would I rate myself. I asked him to clarify, like basic spreadsheet functions, formulas or programming in Excel. They looked at me in shock and said, "You know a lot, you're an advanced user." Woman facepalming. I never answered the question and they moved on to the next question. Edit. For those asking if I got the job. They offered me the job. But I went with another place that had better opportunities. Just navigating Windows Explorer, and the organization of files. The amount of people who just stick every single file on their desktop is crazy, and they're not arranged in any particular order. When they need to find a file they have to peer all around their desktop to find it. How to close a fucking browser. People often forget they can Google stuff instead of posting questions on social media. Edit. Pertaining to questions not requiring personal experience or perspective. For example, what are the colors of the rainbow? How many months are there in a year? Those type of questions. It is said that the ability to use a projector decreases with more degrees. 100% true, at least at my university. How to open Task Manager when everything is freezing and force quit programs. Center plus Alt plus Del was one of the first things my mom taught me on our home computer back in '95. I'm not actually surprised that people don't know how to use Shift, Tab, and Enter keystrokes to navigate, especially when the mouse is AWOL. But it's one of those skills that just makes using a computer easier. That deleting the icon does not delete the game. Turning caps lock on and off to type a capital letter, instead of using the Shift key. Work IT, you will never be shocked by anything. There are a lot of people that don't know how to save, open a file, or I cannot tell you how many times I've had to teach someone how to browse to a website. Mostly old people that had a PC bought for them by their kids, grandkids, and the kids set it up so they can open Outlook to stay in contact with everyone and get photos. I had gotten a number of younger people too though, which is very surprising. Talking to a 25-year-old that doesn't even know how to turn their PC on. Thank fuck I don't work IT anymore. Not realizing that there is more written in an email beyond the preview. Apparently all emails are only a few sentences long and typically trail off mid-sentence according to this person. As a 21-year-old who grew up with computers and is now a graphic design student, I learned 2 weeks ago that Control plus a selected whole text blocks. This already changed my life. How to effectively and succinctly begin a Google search. Some people are terrible at putting down the right keywords. Not so much a skill, but I was shocked when I would interview people in my previous company at the number of individuals who don't have an email address or even know how to create one. Just opening up and closing a tab on a browser. And also not knowing what I mean when I say, what browser do you use? Control plus F. So useful, and so many people I know don't use it. These aren't necessarily skills and more related to hardware, but these things annoy me. 1. Calling desktop cabinets CPUs. 2. Assuming all desktops have speakers and Wi-Fi. 3. Assuming all monitors have webcams. 4. This is a skill. Switching off the desktop instead of the monitor when you're asked to switch off the monitor. How to keep the desktop from having 100 program shortcuts on it. I've talked to people who don't want their desktop to be that way but think it's unavoidable. Typing at an average speed, at least. It's painful to wait for someone to type something so slowly. Typing into the keyboard is a typewriter instead of 1x1 fingers. I, M40+, learned to use a typewriter at 14, thanks to my retired office mom. Started learning computers at 16. I've been in a lot of schools where they teach computer, programming basics, and most of them doesn't teach students to type the keyboard properly. A few of them provided typing games. I'm always surprised by how bad most people are at using search terms that optimize their results, like when they Google things. The ability to use a keyboard, type correctly. That most commercial office printers have a document server function. You send the print job and the printer holds in a queue. Go to the printer and select your print job. No problems with a colleague accidentally taking part of your print job. Half my lab didn't know about this. Use section headers and Word will automatically generate an updatable table of contents for you. I've met recent graduates that don't know that. Excel formulas, even basic stuff is unknown by so many people. Never mind more advanced formulas that use logic code. Not recognizing a scam email when it's really obvious. While in a research class in college, about 3 years ago, my professor took the time to teach us how to use a keypad to facilitate data entry. Having taken a keyboarding class in high school, I thought it was unnecessary until people started asking questions and like actually learning. It was then that I realized how many people my age don't actually know how to use a keyboard. It was wild. People underestimate the power of the control key. You can make selecting and highlighting things easier to shorten the time it takes to organize files. Admittedly, I hadn't realized this for years until the last 2 years. Holding Control and selecting each file, you can pick more files and move them. As well as delete. I'm 43 and grew up when computers were newer and we were all very well versed in how they work and so forth. When I began my career in my 20s, I was somewhat of the tech guy. I figured younger people would know more than me in the future. No, it swung the other way. Example, I work with an intelligent woman who is 26-29 years old. She was on her laptop and said out loud in a meeting, "Hey, and now I know how to copy and paste. I can just copy and paste this a few times and make minor changes along the way." Wait, she didn't know copy and paste. And she graduated from university. It's not uncommon. There's a lot, but I meet more people who lack basic file navigation than anything else. Had several people ask the Discord of a game I play for help with modding said game, but they can't follow the instructions I wrote on the wiki, and the ones the modloader provides, nor know how to so much as open File Explorer. A ton of people also don't know how to take screenshots with the Windows plus Shift plus S shortcut, but that is a bit more niche. It does let you quickly paste them though, so that's nice. You can also open clipboard history with Windows plus V. I'm in my 40s, I teach at a private elementary school. A teacher in her late 20s shared a Google Doc with me, and she had centered the title by hitting spacebar a bunch of times. Another teacher, around my age, wanted to know why Google Docs would not translate her document into Spanish. It was a JPEG with text on it. No one seems to know any keyboard shortcuts. I'm currently in a How to Use Computers course because it is a required prerequisite for my degree, and the amount of people in it who don't know how to use basic things like copy and paste, the search bar, settings, etc. is mind-boggling. A lot of people in my class don't know how to change the brightness. Naming a document. You don't have to use the default img.x or whatever. You can name it something so you remember what it is so it doesn't get lost. Saved me a lot of frustration in college when I was taught this for an online assignment. When people younger than me don't understand the difference between saving to the cloud or the PC. I'm new to OneDrive, SharePoint, etc., but it's not that difficult. Often, they don't even look at where a file will save, then don't understand where it is. Just normal mouse skills. Some people college age or slightly older than that working at offices and taking an eternity to move the mouse and click on something. This is not even related to the mouse speed or sensitivity. Not knowing the difference between Google and a browser. My apps aren't working. Is your OS up to date? I never do updates. The amount of people who don't know how to open Task Manager, use Ctrl+C, C, and so on shocks me.